Good morning and welcome, Patriot Radio News Hour. I'm Joe Jaquint, CEO of the Patriot Trading Group, and our toll-free number 800-951-0592. The website at allamericangold.com. And man, it is Christmas time. Saturday will be closed. Just again, another reminder, we will be closed on Friday. KXXT will be closed. KHNC 1360 will be closed. Patriot will be closed. Matter of fact, we'll be closed the next two Fridays, Christmas Eve and New Year's Eve. For you metals plan people, Brittany is she's actually already started, but we're going to wait and let FedEx and UPS and the post office try to get you those Christmas presents on time. Good luck with that. And we'll start shipping the metals plans next week, and we'll be through them pretty quickly. Brittany's got a good handle on that, but just to let you know, that is happening. I know we had a big pickup for our the pure blood coins that we've been selling. We took them off the website because we were in danger. We didn't know we're close to running out. Jason, you guys had a huge event up there on Friday, a big pickup event. Jason gave me the number right now. There's only 30 coins. That's it out of the entire 500. There's only 30 of the pure blood coins left. So these we're not going to put them on the website. If you want one, and again, there's only 30 of them left. They're $75. They're super cool. Plus, it's a dual purpose. You get an ounce of silver. You also help the radio station all at the same time. If you want to call and order those, 800-951-0592. For those of you in Phoenix waiting for your stuff, Jason and his crew got them on the way here. They're going to show up today or tomorrow, and then we'll get them out to you probably after the Christmas holiday. Maybe before. I don't know what Brittany's plan is on those, but they'll be here today or tomorrow. Same thing with the people. I think it was Peace Dollars. Maybe it was Morgan and Peace Dollars that we are selling that were in Colorado. Those will also be here in the next, say, 24 hours or so. Keep it in mind, the Christmas rush. So we got another huge down day in Wall Street. My son was up. Joey, who's been with us, he's like, Dad, I got too much stuff going on. Not going to come in this morning and do the show as he's taking care of all of his clients. The Dow down just under 700 points. The S&P's down 86. The Nasdaq's down 300 points. Gold's down a couple of dollars here, $17.98 right now on gold, and silver's down. I think it was like 10 cents this morning. So gold and silver kind of just watching and waiting as I guess the end of the democracy, as Joe Manchin did not want to support the ridiculous handouts of Build Back Better, AOC. Jason, I didn't know this, but AOC said that could be it for our democracy.
I think the fact that she got elected was a bad omen.
That may have been the worst thing. Then, of course, the Omicron variant, they've really ratcheted it up, the fear and scarometer out there when it comes to the coronavirus. Fauci, he was everywhere. Don't be with your family. Don't be with anybody unvaccinated, and all these other scare tactics. But one of the things that I found interesting, and it makes a lot of sense, is there was a couple of stories that were breaking about how they were actively early on in the coronavirus pandemic working to discredit anybody that didn't agree with them. And it's something that I felt all along, and why you haven't seen any of the alternatives really being pursued. Is these people had a plan. They were going to support Big Pharma, and anybody that contradicted them was to be alienated and shunned, and even from lockdowns. A lot of the premier epidemiologists out there, guys from Harvard and Oxford, those guys were like, yeah, I don't think that's really going to work, and you're going to end up probably causing more harm than good, and of course was ignored. But one of the things that he said on Sunday, he was doing an interview with ABC News, and they brought up the comments by the CEOs of American Airlines and Southwest Airlines, who were saying, yeah, this mask thing, yeah, it's ridiculous. The mask on the planes thing. And I don't want to, I don't think they use the word ridiculous, but we're kind of pushing back against the whole mask thing and saying, hey, airlines got the best filtration systems and blah, blah, blah. Fauci was like, at what point will we not have to wear masks on airplanes? And Fauci's response, Jason, was, I don't think we'll ever go back. I think when you're dealing with a closed space, even though the filtration is good, you want to go and take that extra step. And I don't believe you should ever not wear a mask on an airplane.
Oh boy, yeah. It's not surprising, Joe, that we're going to hear more and more of that as time goes on.
Get your face mask ready. Patriot Radio News Hour. We'll be back after the break. 800-951-0592. Patriot Radio News Hour. As we watch the Dow suffering today, Jason, apparently the president tomorrow is going to, and I don't know if it's a press conference or what it's going to be exactly, but he's got a speech that is a quote-unquote winter plan. This is a winter plan, and addresses booster shots, lockdowns, and mask mandates. And I just love the spin from the media that they're saying the president was being criticized for deciding to wait till Tuesday to announce new COVID measures. And, of course, they don't say who criticized him, right? But no, you got to create the outrage out there. I'm being health officials allegedly, because, again, I don't know. I'm assuming Fauci, have advised the president to focus on severe cases rather than overall infections and publicly about living with the virus as part of everyday life. So in other words, hey, don't focus on the fact that the virus is here to stay. Don't focus on that. Don't focus on the overall infections either. No. We want you just to focus on the severe cases. And, of course, I think that's the one area, Jason, where they can say, see, it's all the unvaxxed people.
Yeah, if you focus just on one section of what's going on, which, anybody that's suffering and dying of anything, you can make that a very sad story, and you put that all over the TV and, on people's little alerts on their phones, and it becomes the worst thing out there. And see, I'm a caring man. I'm going to help these people out. Just do what I tell you. So that's a sad state of affairs that we're in, Joe. If people actually believe this stuff that's getting ready to come out.
Yeah, and I find it kind of worrisome as I'm watching Wall Street today, down pretty big again. Mm-hmm. And is the president, do you think, and it doesn't say it in there, but is it possible that we may be seeing a push towards a vaccine mandate executive order?
I don't know, Joe. It seems like they still want to push the, hey, we're going to do everything we can to convince you to do it yourself. I don't know when they want to cross that line, but why do I get the feeling that the worse the market gets, the more of an emergency they can turn the coronavirus into? Because they're going to want some other emergency if the markets start to go really bad, and they're not looking too good right now, so we'll see. But the worse the markets show, the bigger the emergency, the more the mandates, or let's just say a law that will force people to get it. We'll see. They'll go after the businesses, Joe. They're going to make the businesses enforce this. They've done that the whole time.
Yeah, I agree. I think that's what we're going to see. I don't think he has the stones to do it, but I agree with you. I think the push is going to come back. Remember they tried the OSHA thing and all that. I know that one of these liberal judges has gone back now and said, no, businesses can go ahead and fire people and all this other stuff, and it's going to be on its way to the Supreme Court. But yeah, I agree with you. I think that's probably more likely. Are we going to see ramped up pressures? Are we going to see mass mandates potentially coming back as well? Those will be things that we'll have to wait and see. But that is coming out tomorrow. If we get in, and I doubt I'll get any more details on it between now and then. But if I do, we'll share them with you tomorrow. How about this one? The IRS and anybody out there that drives, they know about this. All the Uber drivers, the Lyft drivers, some of you independent truckers, or maybe your company. You drive a lot for your company, and they don't provide you a company car. How much you get to write off for gasoline expenses.
Pizza delivery drivers and process servers. Those are my two, Joe.
Right. So Jason, this is something you knew well.
Oh, yeah.
So think about this. Gas prices are up about $1.20 a gallon. Somewhere, and it's been higher. I know in Arizona right now, it sure feels like it's more like $1.50 a gallon more, because gas here is still between $3.60 and $4.10, depending on where you live. It's still really, really expensive. But on Friday, the IRS released its new standard mileage rate for business-related driving for 2022. They were paying 56 cents last year. So as you're sitting there driving, you could write off 56% or 56 cents on mileage. There's a formula. You don't get the whole 56 cents, but that's the number, 56 cents per mile.
Yep.
Jason, they raised it this year by 2.5 cents.
Well, I mean, that's better than nothing. Is that what they want people to think?
I guess that's one way of looking at it, right? I guess it is better than nothing, but it sure feels like nothing. If you got a car, you get 20 miles to the gallon, okay? That equates to about 50 cents. But everybody knows gas prices are up like $1.50, right? And so once again, all these little things, and I don't know how they can. I'm sure they use the some type of Federal Reserve model to figure out how to screw everybody out there. So just another way of the government getting in your pocket without you realizing it. Hey, we'll pretend that gas prices are up 50 cents instead of the $1.50, and pretend that we're actually care about the general public out there, Jason.
Yeah, I was doing the math on this. So when I was the last couple of years, I was process serving. I did about 60,000 miles a year. So that would come out to about 2.5 cents, about $1,500 a year off my taxes. Not bad. But then I looked at the gas prices, 60,000 miles divided by 30 miles to the gallon, because I had a Corolla, comes out to 2,000 gallons of gas times $4 a gallon. I'll be spending, if I were still in that industry, $8,000 a year in gas expense, $1,500 coming back from the government help. So Yeah, I'm out about $6,500 for the gas prices, Joe.
Yeah, no big deal. It's all fine. How about the good news today? Senator Joe Manchin, who has decided, you know what? Forget about Build Back Better. And again, this doesn't mean it's dead, right? This just means Joe Manchin hasn't gotten enough of the subsidies he's looking for. But at least for right now, and again, when you just so you know, Build Back Better. First, it's got the word "build" in there because it wants to confuse people, right? Because they're trying to spin it as infrastructure, right? That was, you know. Remember Nancy Pelosi wanted to tie the two together. Right, of course, the infrastructure bill that they did pass, which has very little money set aside for actual infrastructure. Let's be clear on that. Most of it has to do with subsidies and rebates for 5G and internet and all kinds of other weird things in there. This particular bill, right? This was all about government handouts. More child tax credits. Now we're going to pay for when you start at 3 years old. We're going to pay for daycare, right? You know, because let's face it, that's really what it is. They call it pre-K, but let's call it what it is: daycare. Paying for that, you know, doing all this stuff, trying to redistribute wealth, trying to giving people handouts, which never works. And I just loved the fact that now because really the problem was Joe Manchin. They needed all 50 votes. This was going to be one of those 51-50 pieces of legislation where 50 Republicans said no, all the Democrats were going to say yes. Kamala was going to come in and pass it all, Jason, and now they're calling it the AOC is saying our entire democracy now is on the line, and they've got to go back to work and make this four-letter word happen.
Oh, boy. I don't know, Joe. How many votes do they have, Democrats, against this? Is that the problem they're running into?
Yeah, one.
One. Just one.
One. Joe Manchin.
Joe Manchin. So, well, I guess there's a bag of money coming his way. That's what's going to happen.
That's what I think so, too.
A bag of money.
We'll end up seeing what happens.
One vote? Okay. Well, somebody out there's... I don't pay attention to these guys and all their opinions in Washington, Joe. I'm disgusted by all these people over there, and so it doesn't makes a lot of sense. There's always a couple of guys that in this situation benefit, and I guess Joe Manchin, I guess he's sort of our Democrat. That's sort of I guess a conservative a little bit. I mean, I guess that's what he's trying to show. Well, you know
what he is? He's one of those what I'll call the old school Southern Democrat. You know, my brother who lives in West Virginia and has a high-profile job in media, in television in particular. Actually, you know, I don't know if I should say it on there, but I'm going to anyway. Actually, ran campaign ads against Joe Manchin, but actually, him and Joe Manchin, the first time they met, got into a big argument where my brother was like, "Why are you yelling at me?" But they see each other a lot. Okay, let's just say that they see each other a lot. And my brother did say, you know what? The guy is, a gun guy, right? He's for a Democrat. My brother was like, for a Democrat, he can be a lot more Republican than some Republicans. So I've always had at least a better feeling for him. But it's kind of interesting as we're watching all of these things come out. Ilhan Omar, let's be clear, Manchin's excuse is bull. You know, in other words, the squad likes to use pretty bad language. I don't know why. There's no benefit to that. The people of West Virginia, this is Ilhan Omar, would directly benefit from child care, pre-Medicare expansion, long-term care, just like Minnesota. Again, right? Look at all these free handouts we're giving to people, and somehow they actually think, and this is the bad part, they actually think we benefit from handouts.
Man, I think these people need to actually go around poor people and actually see what's going on. I think that's what it is. They get, they're rubbing shoulders with a bunch of rich millionaires and billionaires. They don't get it, Joe. They have no connection to reality, thinking that the government's fixing things. I think they get that little warm, fuzzy feeling, hey, I'm helping people out. They have no idea how much it's destroying society.
And again, I want to just, they may have failed this time. But let's make no mistake about it. The expansion of government, really with the help of the banking system and the banking cartel, has really been what's been leading to the destruction.
Yep.
Right? And we're seeing this play out over and over and over and over again, where the government seemingly just wants to they double any failed policy is, well, it failed because we didn't make it big enough. Right? I mean, already. I mean, when you look at Medicare and Medicaid, right, and when you look at the payroll tax and all that stuff, and of course the fake Social Security Trust Fund, we're already spending almost $1.5 trillion on Medicare and Medicaid, and the government thinks the problem is it's not big enough. Welcome back, Patriot Radio News Hour. Joe Jaquint, Jason Walker. Man, I just love some of these things. This is, when you think about the federal government and the ridiculous policies that somehow they think they're helping by giving away stuff and putting us further and further into debt and don't worry, eventually inflation, and it's true, eventually inflation will be transitory. Eventually gas will, stay around $4, right? So here's the thing. If gas is between, $3.50 and $4 next year, well, I guess that's transitory, right? Because, hey, it stopped going up, right, Jason?
Yeah, I guess. Yeah, it depends on how long transitory is defined.
Right? Well, it's just talking. I mean, it's not. Is it? What happened to $2? Well, let's forget about that, right? And San Francisco, a poster child. Even everyone that's from California. I'm proud to say I've got a lot of friends from California, and yes, they're a little different, but even they hate San Francisco. I mean, every one of them. Oh God, nobody goes there, right? So they were out there and they're talking about cannabis, and they're saying that the cannabis industry is creating good jobs for San Franciscans, and they provide safe, regulated products to their customers. Sadly, the illegal market is flourishing and undercutting the prices of legal business, which is bad for our economy. So effective immediately, they've got a new ordinance that will start December 31st. And starts immediately, will run through December 31st of next year, Jason, where they're going to suspend the cannabis taxes.
Oh, okay. Well, I mean,
to compete with the drug dealers.
Right. Yeah. Boy. Yeah. That's. I don't even know what to say about that. I mean, is that really fighting the drug dealers? I don't know.
I don't know.
I don't know if that fights drug dealers.
Listen, I can't make it up. I just tell you what they're doing. I will say this, I remember defund the police.
Yeah,
which, it was part of the quote unquote Black Lives Matter until you actually talked to any inner city resident, and let's just say black or brown resident. Every one of them would tell you, I don't want less police. I want more police. right? The only people that wanted less police were the criminals. And yet somehow, right, the Democrats, they thought, oh yeah, what a great idea, right? And they make these big scenes, and I'll use coronavirus as an example. And again, remember what they're telling the president to focus in on. Listen, this piece of the data backs up what our agenda wanted to be. Let's not focus on the stuff that does, right? Don't talk about all the stuff that doesn't support what we've been trying to do. And they've done the same thing with the police departments, right? They vilified all the cops and listen, everybody knows. There's people out there that do things that shouldn't be allowed. And those people will get prosecuted. I would say that up until a couple of years ago that we had continued to been making strides on race. It's not perfect. We've got a long way to go. But I don't think there's anybody out there, at least I don't think, that would have said race is worse today than it was 20 years ago, 30 years ago, 50 years ago, and yet somehow now they want to defund the police. But you know what's funny, very quietly, Jason? They're all trying to figure out how to get the money back.
Right.
Right? They've taken it away from the police, and now all of these places are living with this horrible crime. Even like little towns in Vermont that tried to do it are like, what have we done? Right? All of a sudden, everybody's mad. Crime's gotten worse. I mean, it's off the charts. And I'm sitting there and I'm thinking to myself, wait a minute. These are the people that got voted into office that actually thought this was a good idea. I mean, what person that has an IQ higher than room temperature thought that this would end up differently, Jason? And this is why you own gold and silver. You want a great reason? Defund the police is one of the greatest reasons. There's people out there that thought this was a good idea.
Yeah, I mean, taking the taxes out on the drugs, I guess, does help them compete against the crime. I mean, you were watching that OxyContin show. And the thing about these addictive painkillers they were selling, the one competition that popped up was, well, I can't afford to buy this medicine that has to be prescribed to me, so I'll just go out and buy heroin, because that would end up being the competition for the painkillers that were all over the country. So I guess the taxes on the drugs, on the marijuana, probably is what made it unaffordable for the average pot smoker. So hey, if I can just still get it the old-fashioned way from South America and Central America, I'm going to pay the lower prices coming in. And it's very expensive to do business in the country. It's why all the industry's left, right, Joe? I guess marijuana's leaving this country soon.
I don't know.
I think marijuana's going to leave the country. Yeah, it's coming.
Having the government regulate anything is a dangerous platform. You know, how about crypto? How about crypto? Which I've said it 1,000 times, maybe more. I love the idea of it. Really, what we should do is let them all compete.
Yep.
Let them all compete. Let gold compete. Let silver compete. Let the euro compete. Heck, if you want to put your bank account in Chinese renminbi, fine. We've got the ability to do that. I mean, if we can track every person everywhere, believe me, we've got the ability to do it. And of course, I've said all along, Bitcoin, if you will, the technology behind the crypto is maybe some of the best innovative technology the world's ever seen, and at the same time, the worst technology ever invented, because it's a tracking device. And I want everyone to be clear on that. That's what it does. That's what makes it so valuable. But when we're sitting here and we're thinking about Bitcoin this and Bitcoin that, and there's a big report out over the weekend that the 1%ers basically own 98% of all the Bitcoin. You know, just like everything else, they own it all. But very interesting, the governments and how much Bitcoin they've gotten confiscated from illegal activities. We're going to focus on that next. Patriot Radio News Hour. Don't touch that dial. 800-951-0592. Patriot Radio News Hour. The Dow's down about 700 points right now. Gold's down like $4 here, $17.94. Make it $5. Silver down about 10 cents here, $22.30. We're talking about Bitcoin. So I just, and of course this article, of course, it's all billionaires. They're making all this money. Because I got to thinking, first of all, why would the government allow for this? Because the reason why is because there's an article out this weekend about how the U.S. government has, who knows, billions and billions of dollars worth of Bitcoin that they've seized from people doing nefarious things. Which at first I'm like, well, wait a minute, I thought you couldn't track who the Bitcoin users were. Right? Wasn't that part of the thing to get everybody excited, right? Well, I think that's what they used to convince the rest of us that Bitcoin was cool so the billionaires could make a bunch of money. But I was like, oh, that's kind of odd. And of course, all of us know, right? Anytime there's been a big hack, right? Everybody wants, pay me in Bitcoin, and I want to get paid in Bitcoin, blah, 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 blah. And I'm thinking about it. And the more I thought about it, Jason, I thought about, well, first of all, no one even knows who invented Bitcoin, right? Nope. They've got a guy, an alias, what is it, Nakamoto, whatever his alias is. And I know what
was that in The Big Short? The guy's trying to sell the guys on doing the shorts. He's like, I got my quant. He's got his Asian guy there. Yeah, of course. Bitcoin right. It was an Asian guy. It was their quant.
Yeah, it's an Asian guy. Well, apparently now allegedly, some guy in Australia saying Craig Wright is saying he's the inventor of Bitcoin. No one knows who it is, right? And I'm thinking, wait a minute. So all these billionaires are investing money in this thing that they don't even know who invented it. I mean, that on the premise makes no sense, right? And hey, before I give you tens of billions of dollars, who the hell are you, right?
Unless they do know who it is.
Well,
Joe.
Right. Well, and again, so part of this little discovery of thought that I'm going on this week, I gotta get better friends, or I gotta get a better life, because I literally spent hours this weekend just thinking about this as I was reading these articles, and I'm like, wait, who would do that? Nobody would do that. And then I got to thinking about something Jason had said maybe 2 or 3 weeks ago, and I don't even know if you realized it, but
I know.
You had said that maybe the bankers, the Federal Reserve, the government, maybe they're the actual inventors of it.
I'm almost convinced of it, Joe. I just don't have evidence.
And then all of a sudden, because you know what, I always like to try to prove Jason wrong. It's one of the things that I take a lot of pleasure in. And yet I'm sitting here going, wait, now that makes sense.
Yeah, it does.
Right? All of a sudden, how did the government confiscate these coins? How did they figure out that this person, all these things that are going through my mind? And wait a minute, if the guy doesn't give you his password, how could you even get control of the coins? Right? All these things just going through my head, in seeing, the fact that really this is all of the money in Bitcoin is really controlled by the billionaires. They'll decide whether or not you get to break off a piece. Now, that's not to say that you can't make money on it. Of course you can. Right? If you bought it low enough, you made some money. If you bought it at $60,000 right now, it's not so good. But, wait, who knows? It could be down the road. But I just find it very interesting that all of these things that they told us, hey, you're so anonymous, I'll never know who you are. The government was just saying, hey, they're having Bitcoin auctions, Jason, selling these coins. I'm just very, very interested as we watch this whole thing unfold, and you know, we get Jay Powell retiring the word transitory, and somehow the mythical beanstalks that we can just raise rates a couple of times, you know, to 0.5% or something like that, and that's going to put the brakes on inflation, which is absolute nonsensical thinking. But maybe when we're said and done with this, we're going to find out that, hey, you know what, we've been working on Bitcoin the whole time. Yeah,
Joe, I mean, one of these days in the future when there's no small businesses out there, you know, kind of like that movie Demolition Man when every restaurant was Taco Bell, you're going to have Jeff Bezos buying Walmart at somewhere in the future, and there is no small businesses. So the stock market, which really doesn't mean anything now, is really not going to mean anything. And so the way that you control population is the illusion of freedom. So Bitcoin could actually be floating around out there as a, hey, well, this is a place you could put your money. Yeah, there's no company behind it. There's really no sense in putting your money here. But this is the new stock market. You can bid on all these different little coins, and you might make a little money on it because all the businesses will be bought and paid for by the government, the Fed. Joe, that's where we're headed for socialism, and only the biggest businesses run by these biggest billionaires will have any kind of freedom, and the rest of us are going to be trapped in the system. And so Bitcoin might be the only hey, look, there's this place you could put some money. Maybe you make a little money if you go into Ethereum this year, or there's a new one coming out. You know, meanwhile, the stock market's just a scam, Joe. It's becoming more of a scam every year.
Yeah, it's just something to think about. I just thought it was interesting that, you know, just once again, another thing where just a handful of people control the value of it.
The whole thing.
And, you know, right? It's just the same thing, just a different name. Patriot Radio News Hour. We'll be back after the break. 800-951-0592. The Dow's down off the lows. It's only down 600 points. The S&P down 75. The NASDAQ down another 250. The NASDAQ, I think, will probably fare the worst if we actually get this rate hiking cycle from the Federal Reserve. Gold's down 3, 1796, 1797. Silver is down 10 cents here at $22.30 to the ounce. And again, we're just kind of floating here in no man's land, Jason. I think, you know, again, 1820 in gold. If we break through that, I think we're going to see that run happen. But we'll see. But I'm really convinced silver, which has been a huge underperformer this year, probably going to have a breakout in 2022. And I think we'll see new all-time highs in gold in 2022 as well.
Absolutely, Joe. Absolutely. We'll see it come sooner than later. This is why you got to buy this stuff when it's kind of sitting here in this kind of weird spot it's been in 2021. I've been screaming at people all year, get it. And there's a lot of customers that have done it. So I'm going to congratulate you guys. And there's still time to get it at these lower prices. I mean, the inflation is causing crazy stuff to happen, Joe. I mean, I was reading about Turkey. I'll make it a quick fact. A quick fact about Turkey. Next year, they're going to raise their minimum wage by 50%. So from 2,800 liras a month to 4,200 liras a month, it equals $275 a month. Okay? But here's the funny thing. Where it used to be before the inflation came in, $380 a month. So the lira is going up, Joe, and the minimum wage for lira is going up, but the dollar value, because of the currency is going up and down and sloshing around the world, Turkey's in big trouble. Big trouble.
Yeah, they are one of the bigger. I wouldn't say, you know what, they're the countries that aren't Venezuela, Iran, North Korea. We're going to see a lot of these, and I guess you could classify them as an emerging market. These countries are going to be getting hit really, really hard.
Yep.
Turkey right now being devastated, and we're going to see a lot more of that happening. You're going to see it probably like in places like Brazil, in Peru, in Argentina, in countries like that, Mexico. And then the United States here, they're going to do their best to try to hide it all. But here's the realities. Inflation is everywhere. When they talk about, coronavirus inflation is everywhere. It's infected everybody in the world. I still have about a case of Silver Eagles left. $690. We had them walk through the door last week. Right now, the Mint is not producing any Silver Eagles for 2021 now. They're all getting ready for the 2022s. I was talking to the Bullion Bank today about pre-orders. He's not even buying the Bullion Bank in California. He's like, it's ridiculous, the prices that they're asking. But be ready. We'll have sources to get 2022s, and no timetable yet on delivery for those. But $690 a roll on U.S. Silver Eagles. We've got some 100-ounce silver bars at $2,400 at 800-951-0592. God bless everybody.